Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies. Today we are doing the semi-final episode of Masterchef Junior, and it's episode 8, season 9, and the title of it, besides being the semi-final, is Gordon Demo. And what does that mean? That means when Gordon cooks, first he showed them how to chop up a duck, into the thighs, the drumsticks, the breast meat, and there's 4 contestants left, and they're just going to eliminate one, and there will be 3 people in the final. And the final contestants are Michael, Bryson, Asher, and Remy. Okay, and I think Asher is the youngest one, being at 8, and the rest of them I think are 11. And so, that's just a little trivia piece. And Marco did not pay that much attention. I don't know if he'll say much, but there really isn't a lot to say, because after he showed them how to cut the duck, and it wasn't just a matter of learning how to chop up pieces of duck, because they had to use in their competition for that evening, they had to use the breast part of the duck, and so they had a choice of 2 pieces.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to pull the chair up. Sorry. I had to pull back.
It sounded like you're like...
Marco had to get a cup of tea. Okay, so anyway, so the purpose or the competition was, and he's done this before, and it's hard for kids, and it's hard for adults.
I don't like it at all. It feels like an ego thing. Like, oh, Gordon is the top chef out of everyone. You have to follow along with him. I just don't like it at all in any way, shape, or form. I think it's a stupid challenge. I think it's even stupider for it to be the semi-final challenge. I just hate everything about it. And, I just wasn't a fan of this episode. I didn't even pay that much attention, because it was just like, I really don't like this type of challenge at all. There's nothing, because it's like, even the most skilled chef could struggle with this challenge because of the way that it's structured, to where, everyone works at their own pace. Like, there's no, like, at a restaurant, is there really something where, like, the head chef makes all the other chefs, like, do, like, a factory assembly thing where they all, like, mimic him, and they go as fast as he's going, or they're out and they're fired? Like, no. Everyone works at their own pace. So, like, I don't like it at all.
Well, yeah. I didn't care for it either, and it's very stressful. And it doesn't matter how good you are, it's still stressful. And so anyway, what they made was called duck l'orange or something, which means duck on a bed of broccolini, surrounded by those, what were those things? I never eat these things. I never eat them, and I never
broccolini?
No, not the broccolini, the leaves that they had to...
Orange peel? I don't know.
It was these leaves of this...
Why are you asking someone...
I probably wrote it down.
Yeah, hopefully.
I hope, because I don't use them. Well, these pieces, it's a green. It's a kind of a green, and you had to lay them all. First of all, you had to keep up with him on every step, and if you didn't, you get behind. And you did have, at the end, when he was finished, you had 60 seconds to catch up on anything that you didn't finish. Like, it's not only had to taste like his, which means it had to be prepared like his, it had to look like his. And that's kind of what tripped a couple people up. And I really, even now, and I don't even know if I'd pick it up if I watched it again, But it was called duck l'orange, which means it was on a bed of the duck was on a bed of broccolini surrounded by these leaves. There was also, between the leaves, you had to put orange segments. It had a certain way to cut the orange and cut the segments out, and you had to put a segment between each leaf. And then you had to have a sauce in which you had cooked for the duck, and you had to put the oranges in there so it had an orange flavor. And that was supposed to be not on the duck, the sauce. It had to be around those leaves, like a swirl, all the way around, encircling them. And so a couple of the contestants, I won't say which ones yet, but for some reason they did not understand about the oranges. One of them put the segments on there, but they put the sauce on the duck. The other one, who didn't put the sauce or the orange pieces on the plate, and I don't know what happened there. I don't know. I don't understand how 2 out of the 4 could have messed up like that. Which, I mean, they didn't hear. So anyway, so you just have this one thing, but it's very stressful. And the kids, they went from kid to kid. And so the first one, that it looked like, in fact, Marco said, Remy's going to go home. Because she mouthed off to him, there was a certain thing that they had to cut.
At first, they focused a lot on her.
Yeah.
Usually, in these shows, they'll focus a lot on the person who goes home. They'll be like the central character, because it's kind of like, they're going home, so might as well highlight them on the way out.
Right.
And, but it was just a fake out, which was kind of surprising, because I was surprised that Remy even made it here in the first place.
She always seemed to make it through, though.
She's pretty good, but she's just like, I know she's not going to win the season.
No, I think she's kind of goofy.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, she just has a very happy-go-lucky attitude, and she just doesn't get all worked up over it. Of course, we haven't seen what happens in the finale with her in it, so...
Well, I will say that before we get to the finale, I really didn't like the trailer, because they were showing dishes from the finale.
Yeah, I didn't think that was good either.
I don't like that they're spoiling that. It's like, this season has been a big letdown, honestly. Like, it's not really been very entertaining at all. And I guess they're just desperate at this point, if they're just showing dishes from the finale. Like, I don't want to be spoiled about, like, the dishes that the final contestants make. That's shit.
Well, they showed Michael, and he was very consistent all the way through. He made a little comment at the beginning, and also none of them, I think, had cooked duck except for Asher. They actually raised ducks, slaughtered them, and his father's the one who cut them up. He's never done it. And so he did mention that, so you think that that would have given him an advantage.
He said that he watches, though.
And he has done really well, but he's had a couple of missteps these last 2 episodes. But anyway, so they show Michael. I'll just start with Michael. And he says his dad is a perfectionist, and when he follows him, he expects his son to be a perfectionist too. So he followed Gordon really well. He didn't look stressed out. He was very and I think he even said that he was a good multitasker, which that's unusual for a male.
That's a lie.
Oh no, it's not. It's true.
That's a lie.
But like I said, this challenge is very.
I have
stressful.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. I have 27 tabs open, Safi. How many tabs do you have open?
I don't know. Oh, I never close close them. So.
Yeah, Safi never closes them, but I have 27 tabs open. Safi doesn't know what she's talking about.
Well, it doesn't matter because this challenge is so stressful. But because his dad is like this, he kept up the entire time. So you kind of thought, and you weren't wrong, that he would do well. And he even made it look like it was supposed to look. So let's get to the next one, Bryson. Bryson is the one.
He cried in this episode.
He cried he was so upset because he said, Gordon is just going so fast and I just can't keep up. And and you can tell he just has a slower, methodical pace, but he always seems to pull through on whatever the main cook is. Has he ever made a mistake with the cook? Like the meat, whether it's supposed to be medium rare.
Did he do that in the team challenge? One of those shitty episodes?
I thought so. Well, remember he was in charge of the vegetables.
Oh.
And then he went over to the.
Oh no! Wait, no. Yeah, he did a really good job that episode.
He did.
No, so I don't think so.
So, but he burned his broccolini, and there was no way because they only had 60 seconds. There was no way to salvage it. He just put it on the plate anyway, and they did criticize him in the end and said he shouldn't have put the burned broccolini on the plate.
That's a lie, because if it wasn't there, they'd be complaining that it was missing.
I agree.
That's a total lie. Calling it out right now.
Well, he cried, and because he thought he did good with the meat, but I think it was just the presentation was a disaster. And he put the sauce, he's the one who put the sauce on the duck and not around in the circles on those leaves and the orange segments. And, okay, so he's crying and everybody surrounded him and supported him. Okay, then we'll go to Remy. Remy pissed Chef Gordon up. He pissed him off because he said he mentioned one of the things on the plate. It's the thing I can't think of, the vegetable, and he said it in a British accent, and she corrected him. He got angry, and he said, "Why don't you just focus on what you're supposed to focus on?" And he just shot her down, and so she was kind of upset. But and it looked like it upset her so much when she was chopping it up into little pieces. It made her look like she was going really slow, and everybody else was on the next step, and she was still chopping, and and I thought, well, Marco had thought she was going to go home, and I thought, God, I think you're right. And then the last person is Asher, and he's the one who says he has all this knowledge about duck, but then you see he got a little bit flustered, and he didn't hear the thing about the orange slices and the sauce.
Yeah.
And he also, because he got behind or something, he didn't cook the duck well enough. And when they cut it open, you could see clearly it was not.
And so
undercooked. We
discovered here that they made a mistake last week keeping him, because last week he had raw lobster as well. But the thing is that I don't think that Jordan would have done any better. So it's kind of tricky. It's like, it was just like, he was destined to go home, I guess, because he just wasn't at this level that he needs to be at yet.
No, and he will be, I guarantee. I think I can see him being a chef, but he had an extremely good attitude about it.
Yeah.
And he didn't make it. So he was the one who was eliminated. And Michael, although I don't think it gave him an advantage of any kind, he won. He got the best dish of all. He did everything that he was supposed to do.
Obviously.
So the three finalists are Remy, Michael, and Bryson.
Michael will win.
And Michael, I think Michael will win too.
Bryson could.
Yeah, it's just...
Remy will not.
You never know, but I don't think she will because she's just goofy.
I just don't think, because I'm thinking, because part of, and this is something that people don't really think about, but part of the thing that the contestants have to do in the finale is they have to come up with a menu. And it has to make sense. You remember last year that Masterchef adult with that girl who's obsessed with her stupid sexuality addiction problem. And, she was pretty good at cooking, except for all the times that she made a mistake and they just let it slide because of her sexuality. And in the finale, she had this weird meal scheme where, she's like, this is a masculine dish and this is a feminine dish. And it's like, no, there's no such thing as a...
They don't say that when you go to the restaurant.
Yeah.
Is it like a masculine dish or
Do the men want to eat a masculine dish and the women have to... It's like more segregation crap.
It just didn't make sense.
So it's like that's part of being in the finale is you have to come up with the meal plan. And I just don't think that Remy would be able to do that even if she executed perfect dishes. Like her meals probably won't go together. Although we don't know if they're going to have to make dessert. And I am going to be really upset if they don't have to because I think MasterChef is about making entrees and desserts.
Yes, it's usually, I think for the adults, it's usually an appetizer, an entree, and dessert, right?
Yeah, but for that MasterChef Junior Holiday Challenge, they only had to make a snack and an entree. They didn't even have to make a dessert, which is really weird, because when you think about the holidays, the first thing you think about is dessert, right?
Yeah.
You think about candy canes, you think about figgy puddings.
No, don't
Even,
think about figgy pudding.
Well, even though nobody eats it, but they think about that, and it's like MasterChef, they don't even make dessert in the finale. No. So I really hope they have to, or else it's a sham. I give this episode a C-. I didn't like it very much at all. In fact, it's really disappointing. The season is ending after only 9 episodes. It's kind of like, that came and went. Like all these shows nowadays, they just come and they go.
Yeah,
and they're
very memorable.
They're like extended movies. And it's so much better going back, watching The Office, 20-something episodes a season. So that's 20-something days that you have something to watch. It leaves a lasting impression each season that you watch, whereas nowadays it's nothing leaves an impression anymore.
Well, I gave it a B, but the thing is, what they did was, I thought they were really good at editing because first you thought Remy was going to go home, then you thought Bryson was going to go home, then you thought Asher was going to go home.
But that would only be good if you were actually invested in the episode. If you're not invested in what's going on, then it doesn't matter.
Well, why watch it if you're not invested in it? Plus the fact that
because you have to review it.
Okay. The vegetable I was talking about was endive. ENDIVE. I never use it.
You think about MasterChef Junior Season 3, their semifinal. That was an incredible episode. And it was all based around raspberry desserts. And they hadn't tackled desserts the whole season. And so it just exposed everyone. And it was a perfect episode. It was intense. It was fantastic. And now it's
yeah, but
that's what it's like.
The difference between the kids and the adults is the kids seem to be able to take on anything and not be afraid to do it. And even that Bryson, who really, he has an anxiety problem with nerves, and he's said it multiple times, multiple episodes, and in this one, they kind of got the best of him, but he still managed to cook the meat perfectly. And But anyway, this episode though, I thought they did a really good job though and you never thought Michael was going to go home. That was one thing. There was nothing that he did that they said, "Oh, Michael's behind," or we go, "Look, he's keeping up," and Asher on the endive.
I think what's really bothersome to me is that a lot of cooking shows are hit and miss because sometimes it's like they're not very eventful, and so the people either in the editing room or the people who are hosting the show, they have to like force it to be eventful and dramatic, and it makes the show even less dramatic because it's like you can tell that it's being forced. And there was a show that we watched from England called Big Family Cooking Showdown.
I like that show.
At least only season 1.
That's good.
And it was a very low stakes, friendly, fun show. And even though it wasn't like really intense and just like, oh my God, is that guy going to go home? Oh my God, what's going to happen? It was really, really entertaining. And they didn't try to force anything. They didn't try to force any conflict. They didn't try to force any drama. And I feel like that's why that show was good and why this season is bad. Because they're trying to force all this drama that isn't actually there.
Yeah. It's true.
Right?
Yeah. And just like the other thing I was going to say about this endive, Asher didn't cut off the ends and Daphne made a remark about that, and she also made a remark about not having the duck in the oven or the pan as long as he should. So she suspected, and she said it to she and Gordon's daughter were talking, and they focused on them talking and saying, I don't think the meat's going to come out properly. So they kind of knew, even before it was over, that he may have had a problem. And they could have been wrong. But, he didn't do the endive, and he didn't do the orange segments in the sauce. He's totally messed up. And that's one thing I just didn't understand, because he and Bryson screwed up with that orange sauce. That was like, the orange is part of the title of the dish. L'orange. So, anyway, so I gave it a B, and really not much happened. It was just stressful. These kids, remember, they're kids, following Chef Gordon and having to do exactly what he did, cook it exactly the way he did it, have it presented the way he presented it, and that's what they did, and this is what happened, and that's it. And so next week, there will be 3 people in the finale, and they did show, like Marco said in the trailer, and I kind of just ignored it because I'm not going to remember anyway, but they showed them what they were, and they even showed them standing there getting praise on their dishes.
I don't know why they'd show that.
And they showed what they
Stupid.
Some of them what they were cooking, and I just kind of ignored it because I thought, well, because it's only an hour, and they're just it's been very low key, and it's these 3 people.
Yeah, do you think the finale will even be 2 parts, or do you think it'll just be one episode?
No, it's just going to be one episode.
That's even worse, because then it's like, that they probably won't do the dessert. Right?
I don't know, because they didn't tell us that. The only thing, well, they might have said congratulations during the finale, but the only thing, I think when Michael won, he was the first to go upstairs. He said, better start thinking about what you're going to make for the finale. And so
I think
that was it.
The only way to make the finale interesting at this point, bring back Mafia Don.
God, what?
And he gets to come in
ruin the show
for 1 minute per chef and sabotage what they're cooking, and they have to recover from it so that they can survive.
I just don't. That's a joke.
That'd be funny.
Never work.
Okay, children, Mafia Don has come back to terrorize you. and then he just runs rampant and he destroys all their food, and they're like, "Oh no!" That'd be
That
funny.
kid's ever a chef, I'll be amazed.
Or no. One thing I was surprised too is that in the finale they didn't show Dara, and I thought, it was really strange because in the holiday MasterChef Junior they had Dara come back for the finale, and it would be really strange to me to have her come back for a holidays show and not have her come back for an actual season of the show.
I was glad. What's she going to teach?
Right?
How to make Chinese food?
No, but still, like, it's like, shouldn't she be there, though?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so. That other little boy was there.
What little boy?
The one who, when Chef Gordon went through the time machine and came out as the little boy, I don't know if he was a former contestant.
No, Safi.
Then he must be on a sitcom or something. That's the only thing I can... He looks familiar to me. Like he's been in a movie or a sitcom. But I have no idea. I don't even know if he has a British accent or not. So anyway, that's it. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And we will not be doing gaming today. So, hope you don't mind. It's probably good to have a break from it anyway. So that's it. Goodbye.
Bye.